This is QCAD Tutorial 1. Today we're going to be looking at some basic drawing fundamentals in this open source CAD package called QCAD. I've got it installed on Linux Mint, which is actually an open source operating system. So you can use this on Linux, Windows, Mac, whatever you like really. It's completely cross-platform and it's free and open source, which is the most important thing. So it means you can learn on this without paying for any license or paying anything for any software. It's just free and you can use as much as you want, even commercially. Okay, let's get right to it. First I'm going to draw a rectangle. So there are actually some keyboard shortcuts you can use here, but you won't be able to see what I'm typing on the screen. So I'm just going to use this toolbar on the side here just for demonstration purposes to show you some of the basics of this program and what it can do. So first I'm going to draw some lines. So I'm going to make a rectangle with some lines. So I'll just pick a line here and I will... Okay, I'm actually going to click this button here to restrict orthogonally. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Anyway, basically what it does is it makes any lines you draw snap to 90-degree angles. There's also this polar snap as well, or restrict angle, so you can set angle increments to like 15 degrees or 45, whatever you want. But for the purposes of the tutorial today, I'm just going to keep it at 90 because that's all I need. Okay, I'm going to make this line, say, 200 millimeters long, so I'm going to tap 200. Press spacebar first actually, and then that shows the flashing cursor, if you can see that in the command box at the bottom. So press the spacebar to so you can use that box. I'm just going to type in 200, that's 200 millimeters, and press enter. Now if I zoom out, I'm just using my scroll wheel here, and if you press the scroll wheel, the middle mouse button, you click it, you can actually pan around. So you can pan and zoom like that. It's really nice, really easy. So I'm going to pick the end of that. This is a polyline actually, so it'll just keep drawing till I right click to finish the chain of lines. So I'm going to make that 100, half of the width. Then I'm going to do 200 again, and then I'll just finish the path by clicking on where we started, and that finishes our polyline, and we've got a closed line path. As you can see, we've got a rectangle that is 200 millimeters wide by 100 millimeters high. If I click on this ruler here and I click on this point to point, I can actually check our length. So that's 200 millimeters that way and 100 millimeters down, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so we've got a rectangle here. I'm actually going to put a circle in the middle of it, right in the middle. And let's say the radius is like 30 millimeters. Just for the purposes of this. So actually, while I'm at it, I was going to draw a line here so I could find the middle to draw the circle from, but I'm going to take the opportunity here to show you guys about layers on this and how you can make a separate layer for construction lines that you can make a different color and actually turn on and off when you don't want to see them. So I'm going to click the plus here on the layer list and make a new layer. I'm going to call that construction. and that will be, let's use orange. Yeah, that will look quite nice. And I'll keep it the same thickness, and it'll be a continuous line, so none of these other ones. Okay, so when you click on these layers, the one that is highlighted is the layer that you're using to draw in. So I'm going to have construction selected, and I'll click here on the line. You click on that and it brings up all your line options, all the different lines you can do and things you can do with lines. And I will draw a line here, 2 points. So I'll pick the midpoint of this line. It's actually a snap. You don't have to set these snaps up, by the way. They're already set up for you when you install the software, which is really nice. I haven't really done any customization to this interface here. This is basically exactly how it is when you install it, which is really nice. So I'll go to the midpoint there, the middle. We've got our construction line. So in the middle of that line, I'll use the midpoint snap. I'm going to draw a circle, so I'll click on this one here, circle from center. So I'll click there, press the space bar. So I'm in that command box now to type in the radius of our circle. And I'm going to type in 30, which is 30 millimeters. Oh, as you can see, it's orange, eh? And that's because we're in the construction layer. But we actually want to see the circle, so if I click on 0 here, see now the circle is white, so we're in our normal default layer, which is what we want. So I'll type in 30 and press enter. So now we've got a circle right in the middle, which has a radius of 30 millimeters. If we don't want to see that construction line there, you can just click on the little eye in the layer list next to the construction layer. If you click on that, you can't see it. If you click on that, just as a matter of interest, that also, you can also hide that default layer as well. You can kind of see what's going on there as I click on those visibility icons for each one. Oh, there's also a padlock there, which means that I think that means that you lock the layer. I'm not completely sure what that means though. If you lock a layer, I don't know if that means you can't edit anything in that layer while it's locked, or it can't be moved, so you can't move a layer on top, because the way layers normally work is that the ones on top always show in front of the ones below it. So as you can see here, we've got the 0 or the default layer on top, and if I zoom in, you can see that this circle is actually showing on top of this orange line. So if I actually just click on this construction layer and drag it and move it to the, oh, I can't do that actually, but if I how would I move it? I'll figure that out another day, but I'm pretty sure you can do that. I just haven't figured out how yet, but we don't need to know that yet. So for now I'm just going to make that construction line invisible, and we've got our rectangle that is 200 millimeters wide by 100 millimeters high, and we've got a circle right in the center that has a radius of 30 millimeters. Now I'm actually going to show something that is really unique to this program. Not a lot of CAD software, 2D CAD software has this. You can actually click on a tool here. So if I select all of this, so if I hold my left mouse button and draw a box and select everything here and let go, as you can see, If I click on this tool here, projection tools, and I click on isometric projection, and you can actually select where you want to project your isometric view, whether it's on the XY axis or XZ, what plane you want it on. So if I just click on any point on what I have selected, and we've got an isometric projection here. So what it's actually done, this isn't 3D, you can't pan it around or anything. All it's done is use some kind of formula or something to make an isometric projection, and that's just made out of lines and ellipses. So we've got an ellipse for the circle, an oval there, and it's just done some lines. So you can't actually manipulate that like you can in a 3D program, but it is really handy for making isometric views of your drawings, which can be really helpful for part design, particularly part design. So if I just click here, I'm actually going to make a little block here. So if I click on this restrict orthogonally, this one here, so that way I'm only going on the X and Y axis. On the Y axis here, I'll type in, say 30, and that's 30 millimeters high, as you can see, and I press enter. So now we've got a little block here. I'm going to delete the original lines since they're still selected. We'll just, no, actually I won't do that. I'll just, actually I shouldn't have done that. I'll just select these lines again. So I'm just holding control. Oh, it's shift. Yeah, hold shift. Sorry, and I'm just going to move that out of the way in case we need to use it for later. Okay. So this is kind of in a wire format. I'm going to put in some lines here to make the illusion a bit more realistic. Oh, what layer are we on? On construction. Okay. There we go. What I actually did there, I'll just slow that down. I can draw a line, and then if I just want to finish the path there, I can right click, but our line tool is still active, so then I can draw a new line. Then I can right click to finish that, draw a new one, right click to finish that, and right click again, and we're out of the line tool. And the reason why I didn't do that line is because I don't actually want this as a wireframe. I want it to be like if this is a solid surface, so you wouldn't be able to see these lines behind. So if I'll just delete some of these lines we don't need, and if this was a hole in our block, we would see this little bit here, this segment, if you can see where my cursor is going, my mouse, but not this bit here, because this would be hidden. So I'm going to use a really neat tool here. If I go into modification tools and I click on breakout segment, as you can see with some of these tools I've been going on, when I hover over it, it's got a little code at the bottom of it. For instance, this breakout segment, it says D2, which means rather than actually clicking on these tools, you can actually use those shortcuts. I could type in D2. I'll do that actually. I'll go back here. If I type in D2, the tool's ready to use, and I didn't even have to click on any of these toolbars. So rather than clicking twice or taking my mouse all the way over here, if I'm over here, and clicking on that tool, all I had to type in was D2 and the tool's ready to use. So I'm going to remove some of these segments I don't need, so it's just that bit that's visible, and there we go. We've got a block there that is actually 200 millimeters by 100 millimeters, and it's 30 millimeters thick, and then it's got a hole in the middle of the top surface that's 30 millimeters in diameter, and it goes all the way through. Of course, these lines here aren't actually that length. It's just a visual representation of what it would look like. Say if I click on our point-to-point distance again, that's still 200 by 100, and that is still 30 diameter. But if I go on to our isometric projection, yep, the lengths are completely different, except for some of them are actually the same. So the ones that are actually that aren't rotated, your straight lines like these here, are actually the same length as what they would be on the real part. So they're actually sorry, this one, they're actually 30 millimeters. They're the right length, and this should be 32 if I go down from here to here. Yep, that's also 30. Okay, that will be it for our tutorial today. I hope everyone enjoyed it and learnt something about QCAD and what you can use it for. It's free software. I barely scraped the surface really of what you can achieve with this. It's just a few basics here. Anyway, have a great day, guys. See you in the next one.